Hello. My name is Beatrice. I'm currently 20 years old. I'm about to turn 21 in 4 days. It's currently September 14th, 2024, and I just realized my YouTube channel is 10 years old, which is awesome that I've been watching YouTube had my channel, whatever, for 10 years, almost half my life. And today on my run, I was thinking it would be fun to make a video of 20 things I learned while I've been 20. This is something I've done before, but also recently inspired by my friend Aholia's question to my friend Izzy when she just turned 22 and she asked her 22 things she learned. And then we all went around in a circle saying one thing we learned. And so I wanted to start off with that one, which is actually kind of two things. So the first thing is, also I have them written in my journal. That's what I'm gonna keep looking down at. There are a few things that actually matter, so don't stress the small things, like an assignment or a test. And then followed by the second is, the most important thing is love for your family, your friends, your partner if you have one, the things you do, life, and just the world. And then the third, it's something my mom has always kind of said, and I wanted to include it. It's not always about doing what you love, but loving what you do, and just finding ways to enjoy the things you do, even if you don't necessarily intrinsically love them, finding ways to make them enjoyable. And then 4 is, don't get too numb with abnormal things. If something feels off, check in, don't get used to it. There are certain things and there are certain times where a new normal does arise, but there's also times to just not accept things as normal. Then the 5th thing is, when your family needs you, drop everything and go. Family is the most important thing. And then number 6 is, people process things differently, so you don't need to be so critical or concerned if someone processes things differently than you do. I think this is low-key something I realized last night while journaling. Because I process things by I like to do things still, and I like to talk to people, whereas other people just process things more independently, and I realized I shouldn't be so critical about that, because people just do things differently. 7 is, health is the most important, physical and mental health, both very equally important. And then 8, also believing in something is important, whether it is God or whether it is just that everything will be okay in the end, or whether it is everything that happens for a reason, or everything happens for a reason. I think just going through especially tough times, having some faith in something, that things will be okay in the end is very important. Number 9 is, pull-ups do wonders for the body. I had the goal to be able to do 5 pull-ups when I was 20, and my high record is 9 in a row. And I think doing them pretty consistently every week has really strengthened pretty much my whole body, my shoulders, back, lats, core, and when I go when I try to weight lift again, it feels easier than I expect, and that's been cool. And then 10, following that, is listening to your body is very important. So this year I kind of dabbled more in calisthenics, because I decided weights don't feel so good on my body, and I'm glad I've listened to that, because I think I feel a lot more how my body likes to feel. Just like more agile, like with more running, swimming, and like, yeah, tricks that I do in the gym. And also like the amount of food also you eat in a day varies, and just listening to your body, and that is important. And then 11, this is a debate I've had with my roommate Margaret. I think, and I've learned that if you want to do something and you can do it now, I think that you should always do it, because you just don't know what the future holds. So you should just do it. And that kind of, I think, has played into my like life philosophy a lot. Like I think I do like live pretty fully because of that, and I like that. And then another thing I learned is this is just something I've like very much realized this year, is that I am definitely an optimist, and this just like helps me cope with things, and I like that I can always find a lesson from difficult times, and just like keep hope that things will turn out okay. And then 13, nature is awesome. Nature reminds us about all the forces and processes greater than ourselves, and just like helps me find peace when like my life feels like it's not okay, but things will be okay. And so always camp and backpack as much as possible. And I've done that quite a bit this year, and I'm really grateful for all those moments in nature. And then 14, always let yourself feel. Feeling deeply has like pros and cons. I've recently talked about this with my friend Gianna, because especially feeling negative emotions deeply is like a lot, like it's very taxing. But it is important to just like give yourself space to feel things, and make sure like during times when you do need to feel a lot, to give yourself that space and not just like fill your time up completely, because like, yeah, processing is important. And then going with that, 15 is I prefer living my life with high highs and low lows. Like again, there's pros and cons, but I just love how like intense life feels when it's like that, and it just like feels full, and the high highs like make it all worth it, I think. It kind of, I don't know, I can say more about that, but I don't really want to. Okay, 16, related to both of these past things, it's like in the periods of calm and downtime where the greatest processing occurs. And yeah, earlier this summer I had a good conversation with Margaret about that. And then 17, the best way to learn things is by jumping into the deep end. This is something like a quote that was told to me in high school when I was like first learning like about AI at a summer camp. And I've kind of like carried this with me, and I think I recently heard it from my biophysics and physics professor who I recently talked to earlier this past week, and she was saying like grad school is like that, and I think like I really like that learning process. Like even though it's hard, it's like definitely the way you learn the most, and I think I kind of have been doing that this summer, because I've jumped on to like projects that I had no idea about. Like I had no idea what REST API was, and now here I am like coding it. And yeah, it's been like, I think I want to continue with that learning philosophy. And then 18, don't let perfection hold you back from doing something or creating. This is kind of interesting. Like earlier this summer I was reading some of my old journals, and I came across something about how like I realized I was a perfectionist like when I was younger. Like I wouldn't want to like use a supply unless I had like a perfect thing I wanted to make with it, and that's like definitely held me back from creating when I was younger, but these days I kind of just like send it. Like, I think I try my best in that moment, and the best in that moment is like what I can produce, and so that's like good enough. And like anything can always be better, so it's more about just like in that moment doing your best and doing the things you're doing like with intent and like because you want to. Yeah. And then 19, my friends are awesome and I love them so much, and they were really there for me this year, and yeah, I just love them so much, and I currently miss them, and I'm excited to see them. And also I feel so lucky to have such adventurous friends, like who just match my energy so well. Yeah, I think I appreciate that a lot. Yeah. And then 20, last one, your body is yours. Don't let society or traditions or like other people's opinions give you expectations for what you should be doing and how you should live. Always remember how amazing your body is, and always keep in mind how like your own worth and how valuable like you are, and make sure to always like live life how you want to. And yeah, so those are the 20 things I just wrote down. I'm sure I could come up with more, and I'm sure I can also refine them, but these were the ones I came up in the moment, like this during this day, and that I've kind of like kept in mind. Some of these things, like I mentioned, I've discussed them throughout the year with people and just like realized them throughout the year. But yeah, this is me at 20.